Hello, and welcome to Nice and Blunt. I'm Adam Riancho, your host. It's Tuesday, July 28th, 10 p.m. A little late tonight, but we're ready for it. We're here to draft some best ball teams. Let us begin. We're also here to smoke some weed, as always, but let's bring in the chat. What's up, A-Rod? How you doing? You found it before anyone else. Looks like we got 5 viewers in for the first few minutes. Do I have the chat set up? I thought I did. How about now? I think... Does it work? There we go. There we go. What a diabolical thumbnail. You know, I'm looking for players that I haven't had before. Romeo Dobbs is kind of next up in the range of options. And once I Googled them, I saw all the pictures with his big fucking helmet. There's some that really blow it out of proportion. That one made me laugh, but not like look too insane and too like gimmicky. I thought that was funny, so I'm glad you enjoyed it. Greetings, Best Ball Berserker. Nice to see you. Jamie, you know we're smoking. Well, you know it. And appreciate that, Danimal. Appreciate that. All right, tonight, I don't think I'm hopping in BBM. I'm kind of disappointed that Underdog hasn't dropped a new contest. Like, if anything, it's making me want to go over to Drafters. But I think we're going to ignore the Scott Fishbowl. I think we're going to ignore the the Slow Puppy. And I think we're going to stick in these $10 contests. I think we're going to do one Eliminator and then one Badge Bros. It's a little late, and we were live for 3+ hours with Huhaim. So I'd recommend you go back and check that out if you want more content at the end. But at the moment, I still haven't drafted today, so let's get that going. We're going to hop into the Eliminator first. I do think that I want to do at least like 25 of these, and I fear that once we hit like August 10th, I could see a bunch of people really, really start to go ham on this one. It's already halfway full, so it could fill a lot faster than you think. And with that in mind, we're going to join tonight. The $10 Eliminator is what we're joining first. So I'll give you a quick countdown, but hope you're ready. We're drafting in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's go. Vámonos, muchachos. Allons-y, as we say in French. But a couple spots left. Take it if you want it. Nick Constantino's in the house. Yo, what's up? How are you? How we doing this evening? Looks like this lobby is full. I got pick 11. Not upset with that at all. All is fine with pick 11. But thank you, Jamie. Appreciate that very much. And Jonathan is also smoking. So is Jamie. Our blunt emojis. Let me know. Do you guys think I need to add a bunch more emojis? I spent very little time on the membership emojis when I set it up. I knew I needed at least one, but it has been over a year since I've revisited that. Would you guys want more emojis? I think there's definitely some different emojis I could bring in. Maybe like a bangle for Leia. I think she deserves her own emoji. I think there are several different options I could provide. I think it'd be a fun little thing. I could easily see a better outcome in the chat if we just added a bunch of emojis. That's definitely something I might be lacking in all honesty. But looks like we may have a loaded house. Definitely a lot of familiar faces. We got Super Beast. Keith is in here. The Burgess Austin pulled the 102. Danimals at 3. A-Rod, Underdogs Anonymous, is at pick 4. Gohorns has pick 5. So all of you guys are sandwiched together on the opposite turn. You got 10 straight picks between the 5 of you. Lang Thomas Slang is at pick 6. We got Tampa Bay Bucks at pick 7. Amos Ramus, Christian, our friend, is at pick 8. And yo, we got a celebrity in the house. Fancy Dog Pound in at pick 9. Not sure if you're watching, Pat, but if you are, let me know. And shout out the Fancy Dog Pound. Fun channel over there. Good live streamer. Good content. Shout out BBO. I don't use the overlays, but I know the people that do always really speak highly of BBO. But Tingus Springus is at pick 10. I have pick 11. And then Gorlami has pick 12. The caboose is filled by Gorlami. Gorlami is kind of a funny name. Not gonna lie, that's kind of funny. Uh, I am on the clock. It is my pick. I do feel pretty good about James Cook. I like Saquon in this as well. The later buy is always nice. Um, but James Cook, I think, is probably going to catch more passes this year. It sounds that way. He caught at least 30 last couple seasons. Saquon had 37 last year, so it's kind of the similar bet, but I have a little bit more faith in the Bills than I do the Eagles. It's pretty close between the two, but if one stays healthy, it's probably James Cook. I will go James Cook. But I mentioned I really like Saquon in this contest. I got a lot of Hampton and others. He has a great early season schedule, though. I will say Hampton kind of want to take a lot here. But because of the bye week, I will just stay normal. I'll go Saquon. I like his early schedule a lot. And the problem with going Hampton there in the Eliminator, we would have had 2 Week 7 buys through 2 rounds at RB, the same position. Not ideal. I'd like to get away with just like 4 running backs in this contest if I can. And I'm not dying to overlap buys, if anything. But this is the only contest I think it really, really matters. And so the tiebreaker is a different bye week, not necessarily my rankings. I have Hampton and Saquon pretty close, relatively the same tier. I usually take Hampton over him, but I'll go Saquon today. No issue with that. But Nick Constantino just did a couple elims. Rooms are soft tonight. Gotcha. Yeah, this room doesn't look as soft. Typically on the streams, they're usually not that badgeless, I guess is the term that illustrates my point. And even the teams that don't have a badge on this, I still think 500 is still a lot of drafts, man. 500 drafts is still quite a bit. So the Burgess and Underdogs Anonymous, I don't think just because they don't have a badge. They don't know what they're doing. They have sharp ranks. They snipe me a lot. Some picks I like don't make it back to me. They probably just know ball. But Ryan says I use the free overlay, which just helps with exposures and bringbacks. Gotcha. I thought about using an overlay, but then I checked out the Solver's free website, and honestly, I feel like I get all I need. I get my fix with the Solver's free Best Ball Explorer tool. You make an account on their website. It's linked with the Solver is an ETR product, Establish the Run, makes the Solver. And I don't use the overlay. I'm not interested in buying that, but the data that you can upload in there and then track, it does help me a little bit. I don't care too much about my exposures. I think just trusting my intuition and gut feel is a little bit more the play. But it is better, I think, to also have that in the back of your mind. I don't mind that it's not in front of me all the time, but it is useful information. I can definitely see people liking it and it being totally worth the investment. But maybe I'm just stubborn. I stuck to my intuition, and like our boy Jerry Football, neither of us use the overlay. It feels like it's okay, but I've learned a little bit more about the overlay Who Hames uses, the Updog overlay, and I do think that actually has some compelling arguments as well why you might want to use it. It factors in like matchups that might be more relevant, which is something I do. Like definitely when I have like, let's say I draft 2 tight ends of the same bye and I'm planning on taking a third, I will look at that bye week where they're gone and be like, all right, well, if I'm locked in on this week particularly, what's my best spot? What's my best matchup? That is who I will try to target. And apparently that's what that one does, from what I've heard from Who Hames. There's elements of it in the code that piece together who might have an advantageous matchup the week you might need it the most. But Bryson, what's up? Nice to see you in the house. It's been a minute, Bryson, but always nice to see you back in here. We used to draft with Bryson a decent amount. He's got the same account on YouTube and Underdog. That's always preferred. That's always a little bit easier to keep track of for my purposes. But Egbuka gets the Bengals week 1. I really like that. Olave falls, but in this, not by a lot. I'm going to go Egbuka. I like his week 1 matchup against Detroit. I'm definitely in on that, but there is the blood clot thing. Maybe if it is impacting him, it's week 1, but I didn't expect to get both. I think it was just truly one or the other there. And against the Bengals, I would expect just as much upside from Egbuka. So I'll mix it up. I think the bye week was kind of the main deciding point on that one. A couple extra weeks of game action out of Egbuka versus Olave before the bye. But here, I kind of just want to take T. Higgins, honestly. The week 6 bye is a little bit annoying. I have him ranked much higher. I'm just going to take T. Higgins. I don't really care what the ADP says, or T. Higgins in the 4th feels phenomenal. I will gladly go in that direction. But the bag manager, not sure, but look at that sea of green. Yeah, round 2, that's how round 2 goes. That's just the nature of round 2. But even Jeremiah Love pulled up is interesting. Javonte Williams at 23 is kind of crazy. That Giants matchup last year was really good, though. I will say that. So week 1, Javonte could totally crush. Expecting a major workload. Feels pretty sweet. But Kyron Jacobs goes at 30. That's interesting. Breece Hall at 31. Travis goes 34. And then we see David Montgomery at 40. Quinshon Judkins off the board at 42. Definitely makes you feel a little bit better about the double anchor running back strategy up top. It's a little bit safer maybe when you see higher prices on running backs that feel pretty mid. Like, I like Montgomery. I'm not in love with him. I think if it wasn't for his week 1 matchup and early season schedule, it's really just contest specific why he's going here. But I get it. I understand the play. The volume should be there. The matchup's pretty good. Week 1 against the Bills. Sign me up. That's not bad at all. But Christian says, I'm thinking the Chiefs go run heavy the first couple weeks, trying to justify my Walker pick. I honestly respect that. I think that's a pretty safe call. I don't think they're going to move off of Walker all season. I think the only offensive weapon being added to that team that went 6-11, they were dog shit last year. Like, there's the championship pedigree, but they were never above 500 at any point last season. They were really, really bad. So I think that offense needs some juice. The age is catching up to Kelsey. Worthy is just not proven enough. And Rashi's, do they really want to make Rashi like the face of the franchise other than Mahomes? Like, I don't think so. If they can go back to Eric Bieniemy, who got some Heisman votes when he was in college as a running back, and go a little bit more run heavy with the Super Bowl MVP, I think that's definitely a reasonable bet to make. I think the week 5 bye is kind of a gift by the schedule makers to Patrick Mahomes in a sense. I think the early bye is going to help him like readjust and get a little breather, help with that recovery timeline just a little bit. But before that, those first 4 weeks, I do think Ken Walker will be a little bit more utilized. The early bye is not ideal, but if you can get past it in the eliminator, then you will face those teams that do have buys later on and you have the advantage. It's still 1v1, so you can still win with an early bye. But I do think Walker will consistently have a major role all season. I think he's a very good pick this season. But coming back around, Lamar went at 56. I think in this contest, he's actually going higher. So that's not bad. I like Christian Watson in this quite a bit. I think the only issue with Watson this season for me is the injury concern. But meanwhile, week 1, he should be good to go. And I think with the contract they just gave him, I wouldn't expect Matthew Golden to be lights out the gate. Meanwhile, Golden and Jaden Reed will be battling against each other for several weeks. So Watson's just locked into receiver one. I still think he's kind of behind Tucker Kraft, but I like him a lot. Later by than Carnell Tate. Week 11, definitely on the nicer side of that equation. So I like that quite a bit. I'm very tempted to take Pollard right here because I like Pollard a lot. Week 1, he also gets the Jaguars. And my other player I wanted would have been Tyler Warren. So the decision is kind of made for me. Rome Odunze is not bad at all, but it's the same bye week as Igbuka and Saquon. So for that reason, I'm trying to get a new bye week into the lineup and staying balanced. 3 receivers, 3 running backs through the first 6 rounds. I am happy with that. I have Tony Pollard straight up over Jadarian Price. And honestly, this is basically where I like to take him in the regular contests. So if running back comes at a premium, then Pollard only being taken like 4 picks above his usual price is not that big of a difference. It's not as expensive as I think he could get. I think he should go straight up over Jadarian Price. I think in this format, he should be more of a late 5th rounder. So in the 6th, after I take Christian Watson, absolutely, let's do it. No issue with that. But Crossface, yo, what's up? What's good? How we doing? Wants me to blow some smoke. And honestly, I will oblige. I'm happily going to oblige. Our man Crossface always reminding me it's time to smoke. But Hartman, how we doing? You were live with Candyman earlier today. That was pretty fun. Always a good time with the OGs. Hartman and Candyman back together. Loved to see it. But thanks for popping in. If anyone hasn't checked it out, Hartman Fantasy Football, Hartman FF here on YouTube. Subscribe over there. We were live just yesterday on his channel. If you want to catch the replay, that was a good time. That was a sweet team. Our Badge Bros team, I think, has a better shot of winning it all than our BBM. That Malik Willis conversation definitely sparked a lot of drama in the chat. He's a polarizing option. We did take him as our QB2 on that one. But Bryson says, work hours change a lot for me, but glad to be here on a Tuesday. Always trying to support, sir. Appreciate that, Bryson. Always appreciative of anyone who's watching, whether you comment or not. Always glad to know the content is appreciated. So thanks for joining us tonight. I'm glad it came back around. But Shamrock, where all the drafts at? I know, right? I heard some rumors about some flock contests. I guess maybe that was overblown. But I'm sure that'll happen sooner or later. And I do think they're going to drop something inevitably. I think we need to fill the slow puppy before that happens. I think that's the problem. I think none of us want to actually draft in the slow puppy, and everyone that drafted in it early is not interested in adding to their total. I think they're still drafting the slow puppy, and so everyone that is not interested at all just hasn't touched it, and I think that's the issue. But I'm not going to cave. I'm not going to draft a slow puppy. I'm not interested. I will move on. I see some hundreds being dropped in the chat. I'm not the only one. Especially as we were about to hit August, I'm worried if you enter a slow puppy right now, maybe not in round 1, maybe not in round 3, maybe not in round 7, but I think you risk by, oh, sweet, Herbert's here? Fuck yeah. Insta-click. Do it. Herbert, 83 always, but I think you risk hitting the 4-hour clocks if you enter a slow puppy right now. Like, probably not. I doubt it'll happen to everyone, but if you're in a lobby with some people that really want to push that 8-hour, set the queue and just walk away, I could envision, you get into, August 10th. Guess what? Every pick is 4 hours, and if you don't set your queue, you are screwed. So not too interested in the slow puppy. And that's the only $5 contest other than the Scott Fishbowl, which, no offense, but like, why? Why? Um, I'm just going to take QJ here. Love the early season schedule. The stack is there, and I don't have another week 7 bye other than James Cook. So at a different position, I'm not going to fret. I will just take Herbert with QJ. Not worried about the variance. I think just vis-a-vis, is he worth this pick? Yes. Come on down, Quentin Johnston. But Bam, you like Garrett Wilson for the Jets as a 4th pick? I do think so. I think he's pretty valuable there. I think we've kind of overblown some of the rookies in New York really impacting the most talented weapon that they have. Like, overwhelmingly, talent-wise, Garrett Wilson's the best player on the team. No offense to Breece Hall. No offense to Omar Cooper, Kenyon Sadiq. Overwhelmingly, it's Garrett Wilson. And I think the contract speaks for itself. He was so productive last year, and then he also averaged almost 13 points per game the year they had Rodgers before they traded for Adams. When he was the number 1, he always crushed, and he's going to give you 1,100 yards minimum. I think that alone is why I want to take him. And then there's also the scenario where Geno Smith actually is a little better than expected. Maybe I am overestimating how bad they are, but like, I'm just not afraid of Omar Cooper. I'm not afraid of Sadiq in regards to Garrett Wilson. And vis-a-vis Zay Flowers. I've used that term a few times today. I don't know if I like it, but it's kind of stuck in my head. Straight up comparison versus like Flowers. Garrett Wilson's a much better athlete. You could argue he should be the next guy off the board once Pickens and Nico come off. I think he could rise a full round. I think he's one of the guys we've kind of slept on just because the Jets suck. But like, can one player really pay off on a bad team? It happens all the time. If I'm betting on one Jet this year, give me Garrett Wilson. Especially in the 4th, it feels better than Breece in the 3rd. Not gonna lie. If running back wasn't so expensive this year, Breece would not be justified in round 3 at all. Breece is not a safe round 3 pick. Nick says pick 3 has to be overwhelming favorite for most 0 RB builds. Danimal gets weird. Danimal gets a little uncomfortable at times and pushes the limit on builds that other teams wouldn't want. But he gets T-Law to fall at 94. That's pretty interesting. Unstacked, he might get Jacoby Myers back, but on that side of the board, it lines up pretty well to get Travis Hunter most of the time. Myers goes 104. But at worst case scenario, he gets Brenton Strange. That is definitely a valid way to play the Jags. T-Law unstacked is totally fine. If I want to go running back, I could go Brooks, but I think tight end here is a little bit more intriguing. I'm going to just take Kyle Pitts. I think that Stefanski will use him a lot and often. I feel very strong that Kyle Pitts is one of the correct round 9 picks. If not, he's just a value. I don't think letting him slide into the 10th is really ever the play. So the team behind me, Gorlami, didn't have a quarterback. Already had Tyler Warren. Maybe I could have pushed it, but I just want to take my preferred option. If he wants tight end, he can still go Harold Fannin. But Kyle Pitts over Fannin all day. I don't trust Harold Fannin. He goes Brooks, saves me a little bit. I didn't feel like I needed Brooks as much right there. It wasn't bad, but I didn't feel like I was desperate for it. Kind of just want to trust Cook and Saquon. And then here, in terms of floors, like Stafford is just the most like reliable, consistent, but I think I'm still going to go Bo Nix. I think I'm still Bo Nix over Stafford. Their schedule's tougher this year, and I think they're not going to win as many games, or at least not going to be ahead as big in as many games. I think their defense gets put to the test a bit more than last season. So Bo Nix needed the game script to really pay off. Until he was trailing in the 4th quarter last year, Bo Nix didn't really do much. So if that's different, if they get to the 2-minute drill in the 2nd quarter and need to push it, I think Bo Nix could be in that scenario a lot more often this season. And I do think Bo Nix is a very reliable play. Back-to-back years with 300 plus fantasy points and only a 2-year sample size. He's been crushing since he's been in the league, fantasy-wise. So I will be compelled to just bet on that. The Stafford defense got much better, and I think I still trust Bo Nix at his age to be healthier than Stafford. I know he's coming off the ankle injury, but Stafford and his back could always crop up again. And if anything, with their defense this year, they might be able to just stay in playoff contention, even if he does miss time. So I think I prefer Bo Nix over Stafford, and that's why I had to take him instead of Stafford. Got to stick to the ranks the closer we get to the season kicking off. But ETR is Chiefs 0 O-line, ranked 21st compared to 8th overall in 2025. Last year, it wasn't very good either. So, damn, that's interesting. Chiefs O-line has always been kind of an issue for them lately. But, yo, what's up, Chris? Thanks for popping in. You say, I don't think his helmet is big enough. Probably not. If anything, like, I should have made the whole thing smaller just to really emphasize how big the helmet is. But thanks for the feedback. Next time I will double it. Appreciate that info. About to do a blinker, says Ian. I'm well behind on the chat, as always. But Bryson, I know you're a Bolts fan. Plus 190 on DK for them to win the division feels good. Yeah, I would totally take that. I think betting them to win the Super Bowl is probably destined to fail. As much as I believe it'll happen, that's probably asking a little too much. Year one of Mike McDaniel. But it's not out of the question. I would take them to win the AFC. I think the odds for the Chargers to win the AFC are really worth your money. If I was only going to put down 2 picks to win the AFC, give me either the Chargers or the Jaguars. I think those are the bets. AFC. Aaron Jones here, early season. I don't mind that. Falling 17 spots? Sure. Let's do it. I think if he hits your lineup, it's in the beginning of the year, not so much the end. I feel like it's just inevitable. He goes down, misses time, and probably doesn't come back. So, Aaron Jones, come on down. In the eliminator, I'm fine with that. Question is, do I take a third quarterback on this one? Probably, but I don't know if I need to force it here. In terms of who I think is just the best value, it's by far Dallas Goedert. So I will stick to that. We talked about it earlier today with Who Hames. Goddard in the top 5 of value clicks across the entire tight end position, and also a week 10 bye is kind of on the later side. We love his early season schedule. Week 1 at Washington, light him up. Week 2 is, I believe, home to the Titans. Maybe week 1 is home to the Commanders. I forget, but it's Washington regardless. And then it's Tennessee. And then it's Chicago. That game should be a pretty big shootout. And their secondary has a couple corners I don't want to test too often. But tight ends, not a position I'm going to be fading against Chicago either. So I like the Eagles bet. I think the way to play it is through Goddard and the running backs. I do worry Saquon goes down, but in the eliminator, we have to show up early season and put up points. Saquon will have the volume in September. But yeah, Hartman, absolutely. Malik Willis definitely gets the people going. If you want the chat to blow up, just bring up Malik Willis. That'll usually get him going. But let's fucking go. Smash that like button. Appreciate that, K-Space. Thank you very much. We have we have a super chat, I think, from K-Space. Up to $3 total I've sent you this year. Thank you very much, K-Space. You demand. That always means a lot. The super chats are never necessary, but they are so much appreciated. And thank you very much, even for $2. Very, very kind. Let me try and speed up to catch up with the chat because I'm very behind as usual. But yeah, nobody wants to play the slow puppy. Not interested myself. Like if I start another slow one, is it even going to be ready by the time the season starts? Yeah, they will force it with the clock change. But in general, they don't usually last more than 3 weeks. typically a lot of people are in the slows and still don't draft as if they are there. Like sometimes you're just on the clock and out of habit, especially on the phone. You just draft once it's your turn and you see it is. But I've been trying to leave it in the queue. I only did 3 slows this year, and it's just not worth my time. But if I was there, Herbert wouldn't be there. Yeah, thank God, right? I'm surprised Burgess didn't take him. I'm surprised Austin didn't snipe me. He took Tucker Kraft. Oh, that makes sense. Yeah, he can only take one. He took Kraft instead of Herbert. But it takes approximately 2 weeks to do a slow draft. They're probably not going to hit 4 hours then, if that's pretty accurate. The Malik Willis take feels personal, says Bryson. Yeah, week 17 is when it'll all be decided if it was worth it or not. I do like that Bills matchup, not gonna lie. I could see them in garbage time. Malik Willis actually like runs around quite a bit, but I think I'm just Debo here. I think I'm just Debo. I only have 4 receivers. I want one for sure. I trust Debo the most here. I will just do that. Gadsden goes. I took Kyle Pitts and Dallas Goedert. I don't think I need my 3rd tight end here. As much as I like Brenton Strange or Dalton Schultz, I think they are really good picks. Structurally, I kind of just want to take a running back because I know it's not going to work out. And at this point, especially in Philly, I'm very pro handcuff. In the eliminator, every week I just have the Eagles running back aside from week 10. Sign me up. I'm fine with that. I am totally fine with that. Saquon and Bigsby, all of the running back clicks at this late are so worthless. Kamara has almost no upside. Sampson, when will he hit the lineup? Is it when Saquon's out? I have no idea. Charbonnet, maybe, but it might happen earlier than that. And if I really need it, just lock me into Philly. Lock me in to Philadelphia. Saquon Bigsby, one of my favorite ways to play running back in the eliminator. But I'm curious to see what Dog Pound has done. He went Genty Chase Brown. The Chase Brown at 16 is pretty nice. Honestly, I sometimes take Chase Brown over Saquon. But we went James Cook today. So getting a later buy, I think, helped me. If Chase Brown didn't have buy in week 6, I think he'd be possibly a 1st-round pick. I think he'd probably go next to Derrick Henry, if not above him. But then he goes Zay Flowers, David Montgomery. He took Montgomery, took DJ Moore, Ramondre Stevenson. Then took P. Wash, Jaden Reed, Xavier Worthy. So some high variance options. Interesting. But Worthy at 105 feels like a solid value. Stafford, Ferguson, Stroud, and Rodgers. Okay, the quarterback room. Not the most envious of, but one way to play it is definitely just for the floor. I respect it. No issue with that. Ferguson, only tight end. You can always get later tight ends. But A.D. Mitchell. Ooh, interesting click on A.D. Mitchell. Over Travis Hunter. It's got to be just contest specific, of course, but I do find that interesting. I don't understand the A.D. Mitchell hype train, not going to lie. I only trust Garrett Wilson there, but Hartman, I watched every Malik Willis drop back immediately after that stream. Did I really make you that upset to draft Malik Willis, Hartman? Did I really piss you off that much? That you were just like, fuck, do I have to reevaluate this? And I really stuck with it. But Copy Paste Lade says Team 3 is a shipper. Danimal with Jamar Chase, London, Rashi Rice, and Mike Evans. That's really strong at receiver. Bucky Irving, Chuba, RJ Harvey, and Chris Rodriguez with Algier at running back. Quarterback with Lawrence and Mahomes. Stacked up with Kelsey. Also has Diggs and Travis Hunter. Very nice team there out of Danimal. I think running back obviously has some worries, but I think some people underestimate how valuable receiver is in this contest. I still think you want good receivers. I don't know if you need to get that expensive like Danimal did, but from draft slot number 3, why not just take the values? Why not just get really safe picks instead of getting guys that you just don't trust and don't like? So I I can understand the vision. Really good receiver room from Danimal. Okay, back on the clock. Geno Smith has some value, but not much. I think I do trust Fryermuth. I will say Huhaim's kind of made me a little worried about my investment, but I'm not that inclined to change my tune on a player I've drafted so much of. I still trust him more than Darnell Washington, and I think this is one of the safer picks here. I wanted 3 tight ends for sure on this one, so I like the pick. I think it's valid. I think it's a good one. Pretty safe floor play, but here it's pretty disgusting. Receivers pretty worthless. I could maybe talk myself into Calvin Ridley, but I think I'm going to go Tank Dell. If he is indeed healthy, the way to play him is the start of the season. I could see him going down, of course, but I think week 1, if he has the health, he has the chemistry with Stroud. I don't think he's going anywhere. I like him early season. So Tank Dell in the Eliminator, I think makes me a little more comfortable than taking him when I need him week 17 to win all the money. I think in Eliminator, it's much more appealing. But I think I can probably zoom in, actually. Sorry about that. There we go. But Ian says, love the fry drafts. Keep it up, man. Good night from DC. Appreciate that, Ian. Yeah, it's more appropriate at this time of night. It's definitely how I usually draft in the first place. So blending these two these two hobbies together felt only natural. But one mo for Crossface. He probably left this in the chat like 15 minutes ago. So sure. Let's kill the bull. We're in round 16. Only 2 more clicks left. Let's do it. So Cousins to start over Mendoza early in the season? Yes, I think so. How long will it last? I have no clue. The schedule's kind of tough early on, but I could also see them just not have much commitment and allegiance. No loyalty to Cousins at the end of the day. His contract is long and expensive, but it's actually like easy to void. Um, in all honesty, but Hartman says Malik Willis, his arm was better than expected, to be honest, but I think he stares down the field down the first read, and doesn't make progressions. Green Bay led the league in receiver separation. Main takeaway, Watson is a dog. Yeah, to just feel great about the receivers more so than Willis, I think is a fair bet. I think all of the factors considered, going over to Miami, it's not that exciting. It's just the idea that he might just hold on to it and run for like 80 yards in like 7 different games next season. Like that's the true upside, that you get 7 weeks with like 80 rushing yards and like on the year, maybe 10 rushing touchdowns. I could see him be a huge like tush push guy as well. Like I think he's kind of the only one that has any value other than Achan probably. But I get the fade. We got a good price on Cam Ward at least, but the bet on T-Law was really the play on that one. But K-Space like in the thumbnail. Yeah, the thumbnails made me laugh. Yeah, fucking huge helmet. How many Underdog drafts are you up to now? Asked Captain Spock. That's a good question. I think I've done about 250, maybe 270 in the regular season since they dropped BBM. But then I also did about 180 of them, 185-ish, before in the pre-draft. So that would put me up to like 400, maybe 450 if my math... Definitely over 400. I think it's closer to 450. Thank you to Underdog. Site credit definitely goes a long way. I would not have drafted that many if not for the site credit. I assure you that. But Mendoza's still here. He's not a good pick in Eliminator. Doesn't really help you very much. Tua, meanwhile, stacks up with Pitts, and I think could just keep the job. So with a week 7 and 10 bye, I will take Tua here. I could probably push him, honestly, but I think I'm just going to take a pick that makes sense. I'm going to go Tua with Pitts. I am fine with that. Receiver is the last thing left on the board. I imagine Keenan Allen went well earlier on in this lobby. Yeah, Keenan went 168 to Go Horns, who also took my boy Judy, newly adopted boy, Jerry Judy. And I'm glad to get sniped, honestly. I will go with the stack. I will take Pat Bryant with Bo Nix. I am pretty chill with that option. Okay, the receiver room feels pretty sweet. The running back room, I think, is good enough. And then quarterback and tight end are fairly deep. Let me know what you guys think. But in the Eliminator, I think I avoided a major, like, bye apocalypse or whatever you want to call it. We have Justin Herbert, Bo Nix, and Tua, all different bye weeks, all starting week 1. I think all the better plays in their offenses and good values at cost as well. At cost, they're great picks. But we got James Cook, Saquon Barkley, Tony Pollard, Aaron Jones, Tank Bigsby. Pollard also plays the Jets week 1, so it should smash and help me advance. We also have to finish top 6 in the pod before we hit 1 versus 1 the rest of the way. But Aaron Jones should be healthy early in the year. I got an 18 pick slide on him, so definitely a little more valuable. An early buy, but I don't give a shit at all. Tank Bigsby, if Saquon ever goes down, helps me in terms of the floor. I think for the Eagles specifically, I'm definitely pro handcuff, especially them, or I know exactly where the touches are going to go. But Egbuka, T. Higgins, Christian Watson, Quentin Johnston, Deebo Samuel, Tank Dell, and Pat Bryant feels pretty solid. The only recurring buy is Egbuka and Pat Bryant. So my first and last drafted receiver. Not expecting much out of Bryant in general. So I'm happy with that. Otherwise, everyone is a different buy. Hopefully we luck out with Deebo. But if he goes to the Commanders again and he's week 7, that's not bad at all. If he goes to the Colts, that's a week 13 buy. That's definitely more advantageous than not. So that's pretty sweet. And then tight end, we get a bye in week 9, 10, 11, but Kyle Pitts, Dallas Goedert, and Pat Freiermuth. The floor is there every week. The volume's there, and then the upside as well. Love Goddard for touchdowns. Kyle Pitts, a good value. And then Freiermuth should, at the very least, pay off. Tight end 29. He is, at worst, being drafted at his floor, just like last year. But he should play better than he did last year, if you ask me. All right, that was my team. We have a few of y'all in this lobby with me. But let me catch up with the chat because I'm just so slow on that. Sorry. But be happy we haven't started going back and forth on Tua. I am pro Tua this year. I'm talking myself into it, especially if they do trade for Judy. He's missing that receiver too to really feel good about it. But Bijan catches a lot of passes. London is really good. And then Kyle Pitts, I'm starting to just believe in. I think Tua is a good pick, honestly. It's just so cheap. I used to feel the same way about Rodgers, and now Rodgers more expensive, less appealing option at like 170, 160. I would just rather take Tua at this point because I have a lot more Rodgers comparatively. But yeah, Christian Watson might be a better click than my exposures might suggest. But well, I'm doing a very different strategy in this draft, testing some things out. Good to know, Austin. You get a team review. You're a member of the Blunt Rotation. Let's take a look right now. Quarterback room has Burrow, Purdy, and Jordan Love. Love at 122. That's not bad at all. You also have him double stacked with Golden and Kraft. You have an unstacked Burrow, but Purdy is with Pearsall. That is chill. But you spent a lot of draft allocation to tight end as well as running back. You have Bijan Javante at 23, Bishal Tootin at 47. Those are your top 3 running backs. You did not take any more. You went with a 3-3-10-2. 10 receivers, I think, is too many. I think you should have at least 4 running backs. I think you should have grabbed at least one more, even if it was a handcuff. I think that was a better use of your draft allocation to take one more running back in general. I think it's worth it. But uh, tight end is really loaded with Loveland and Kraft. That is not the problem on this team at all. Pearsall, Matthew Golden, Jalen McMillan, Ryan Flournoy, Denzel Boston, Isaac Tesla, Jalen Tolbert, Kayshawn Booty, and Keon Coleman. I think you can ignore one of those receivers, add on just one more running back, and I do feel a little bit better about it. That's my take on it. Team's not bad. Honestly, I think it's worth trying. I think I just prefer the 3-4-9-2 a little bit more than the 3-3-10-2. Three running backs. I know one of them's Bijan, but Bijal, Toot, and Javante don't feel like the safest guys to play all 17 weeks. Javante especially, but if Tootin wasn't in as much of a committee, I think I'd feel a little bit better about it. If you told me that was like Kyron or Jacobs, I think I'd feel a little safer, but I think I would want one more myself, but I respect it. Everything else is really, really lights out. Austin, I'm not too familiar with eliminators, so I'm just trying new strategies. That's always fair, but Captain Spock likes the Herbert QJ stack in best ball. I will tell you this: when you can backstack it feels so much better than when it's the cost it is today. When you have to go QJ at like 70 and then Herbert at like 75, I'm fine with the Herbert click. The QJ click doesn't feel as good, but Herbert at 83, QJ at 86, that's the way I used to play it all the time. That's the way I got 30% Herbert and 27% Quentin Johnston. Both of those clicks have gone down my exposure list as QJ got more expensive, but I still take Herbert a lot. It always feels better to take Quentin Johnston right after him. But you're welcome, Danimal. People were passionate about Malik. Also, the video is like 9 minutes, 35 seconds long. It wasn't too much work. Yeah, his highlight reel is definitely not the longest. Malik doesn't have a lot of runway. So maybe he's just hungry for the ball. Maybe he'll actually shock us. Maybe he'll just keep the job. But I don't think he gets benched. I don't think they have anyone to bench him for. So as long as he's healthy, I think he'll probably stay there most of the season. But Darnell on the come up, possibly maybe Darnell Washington is worth a spot. But 2 startable weeks, I'm thinking. Well, that's not as many as Fryermuth, if you ask me. But K-Space says 46 watching, 16 likes. Smash that like. Appreciate that. Right now we're up to 24 likes, 57 people watching. We will lock in draft number 3 at 33 likes. Let's get up to 33, maybe 35 likes. But 33, we draft team number 2. I can assure you that. My cat's making some noise in the background. But cheers, everyone. I'm definitely not rich. I am not. The site credit is what I have to thank. But appreciate that. XOXO to you too. But Judy was the highest receiver on the board, and the receivers were gross at my pick, so I just took Keenan since he wouldn't make it back to me. Probably. Yeah, very, very fair. I think especially early season, I think I trust him more than like Denzel Boston. And then if he does get traded, I think he gains value. So we'll see. But my first name is Adam. If you guys want to call me Adam, that's totally fine. But most people just tend to call me Blunt because they're not here in the first like 30 seconds of the stream to hear me say my name. But Waddle over Garrett Wilson, I've hardly taken any Wilson. I think straight up, I think you can pick one or the other. It's the same tier for sure, but I think volume will favor Garrett Wilson. If both of them stay healthy, I think you get more targets and catches out of Garrett Wilson, but you probably get more touchdowns out of Waddle. So I think it's totally fine to take Waddle above him, but I think Garrett Wilson's a totally legit pick. Anywhere in the 4th, even late 3rd, he's probably pretty good, pretty worth it. But A-Rod, yeah, the double elite onesie, always kind of tough. good luck. We'll take a look at A-Rod's team. He's a member. He went Allen in the third. He also has Tyler Shuck and Brissett, so the 3 quarterback build. In Eliminator, I suppose, but with Allen, it's never the most critical thing. I do like Tyler Shuck's week 1 matchup a lot against Detroit, so I think with Allen at Houston week 1, that's kind of annoying, and it's possible he does play poorly like he always does. So getting a good matchup, Shuck in week 1, I think is a good QB2 with Allen. But I honestly think you could have stopped there. I wouldn't have hated it. You have Bowers at tight end along with Juwan Johnson stacked. That's always pretty nice. Stopping at 2 is legit. So the luxury pick being QB3, that's fine. Instead of 3 tight ends, it's 3 QBs. Running back, though, has Scatabo, Rico Dowdle, Kenny Gainwell, Tyjae Spears, Katron Allen. All fine. A little bit risky, but I think very, very fine way to play it. I got no issue with that. All solid picks. Maybe the Tyjae Spears click isn't the best, but from a floor standpoint, weekly value, that's fine. You could get the touchdowns when you randomly need them. But receiver has both Rams and Puka and Adams. That's interesting. I don't hate it, but I'm not in love with it either. Chris Godwin, Jordan Addison, Khalil Shakir. Decent, no issue with any of that. Trey Harrison, Zachariah Branch, and Torrey Horton is okay. I will say I've talked myself out of Trey Harrison, Zachariah Branch lately. I have a lot of Trey Harris, though, so I'm definitely invested in it, but not that much Branch. Not going to lie. I've talked myself more into Judy stealing his job. But a BBM, asked Bryson. That's a good question. I think for 38 likes right now, I think the BBM. I think we'll save. Typically, I usually only do BBM on Sunday. Typically on stream, that's the play. But maybe on Friday or something like that. We did one the other night. I don't know if I'm dying to do one again. But what's up, Anthony? Good to see you. I have no idea how late I am in the chat, but thanks for joining. Drew says I just can't Phantom taking Garrett with Geno, throwing him the ball. He's burned me the last 2 years. He looked really good before the injury last season. If it wasn't for the injury, he looked really fucking good last year. But yeah, fair point by K-Space. It is nasty. Try to aim for Igbuka and DJ Moore. Stack with Allen or Baker. That does feel like a pretty safe way to play it. My favorite stack with Allen, though, is Kincaid. I think having Kincaid with Allen is the better play. But AJ Brown, Drake May's not bad either. Goff, Gibbs, Laporta is fun. Yeah, that's always nice. Really high on AJ and Igbuka this year, too. I think that's a pretty fair call. There's not much you can point to in terms of fading them, other than like the injury for Igbuka, and then the fact that AJ Brown kind of looked like he missed a step. But I think the situation in Philadelphia was to blame. He gets a much better quarterback with Drake May this season, so I think AJ Brown and Igbuka are good picks. But Christian may have sniped. I mean, Lamar that late is never a snipe. Lamar that late is never a bad pick. But the Jets offense feels like the best it has been in a long time. I mean, the bar is so low, Bryson. The bar is so low. I could see Geno Smith fuck up their tanking where they actually win like 5-6 games, but like I wouldn't have much faith in a lot of the Jets offense. Maybe only one is the best way to play it. For me, give me Garrett Wilson. But Keith, can I get a... Yo, my cat's going a little nuts. Sure, Keith. Sorry for the delay. You have Caleb Williams and Jared Goff. I'm fine with that. Running back Gibbs, Travion, J.K. Dobbins, Woody Marks, Jonah Coleman, and Mike Washington. That's pretty chill. I think the The risk on Travion Henderson is problematic, but Dobbins is such a good pick in the Eliminator. I think pulling him up at 72 is totally fine. I don't mind that whatsoever. I think that's fair. Woody Marks, Jonah Coleman, and Malik Washington, though, I don't love respectively, but I do think Dobbins with Coleman is pretty interesting. I've done it before in the Eliminator too, and I kind of like that from a handcuff standpoint. So I'm chill with that, but the Woody Marks pick doesn't feel too valuable. And 6 RBs with Gibbs is not always the play, in my opinion. But with the injury risk of Dobbins and Travion just being so like high variance, I understand 6. But Malik doesn't feel like he's worth anything in this contest. Not gonna lie, I don't think Mike Washington, out of Las Vegas has much value. I would have rather gone Katron there, or even James Conner. Honestly, I think early you have to have points in the Eliminator. You're just kind of hoping that you make it a while and that he fits into the lineup, but I don't like the Mike Washington pick very much. Receiver, though, has Pickens, Nico, Terry, Dobbs, Concepcion, and Coker, along with Jeremy Bernard. That's fine. I got no issue with that. All decent clicks. Dobbs as receiver 4 isn't my favorite way to go about it, but you have 2 that I like a lot for number 5 and Concepcion and Coker behind him. So receivers 4, 5, and 6, I think can get it done. Also, Dobbs is on the thumbnail, so the vibes are there. Good omen. But it's mostly just top heavy. So it should check out. The buys don't overlap, it looks like. So pretty fine. You have 2 week 11s, but it's not that big of a deal at receiver. Lastly, though, Laporta, Strange, and Barner. Strange was such a good value in this at 168. Holy shit. That's pretty good. That's really nice. I'm surprised the T-Law drafter didn't take him. Yeah, Danimal took Travis Hunter instead. Yeah, I guess he can't have both. Damn. Strange at 168. That's a really good pick. Barner right behind him. The Strange pick makes this team look really, really nice. Yeah, hopefully running back really carries you. I don't think there's any holes. I think the team is really well built. Don't love the running back depth, but it's not really anything to complain about. Very good team, Keith. I like it a lot. But it looks like the cat is calmed down. She found the food. She's just eating the food that's been there the whole time. Sometimes she throws a fit over a problem that is already solved. And then it's like, until I put her in the spot, she doesn't realize. But all right, she's calmed down now. Yeah, the Lions, I think, are going to really, really crush this year. They got a 4th place schedule, and they missed the playoffs last year. They're going to dominate. How much Dak do you have? Not much. I think I only have like 5-6%. I'm definitely underweight. I don't have a lot. I take so much Justin Herbert instead. I'm definitely underweight on Dak Prescott. Unless I have Pickens or Dak or Lamb, I'm not really interested in taking Dak. But been to Mackinac Island a bunch of times. I have no idea what that is. But hello and good night, says Kijo. Appreciate you popping in. Packing a bowl before this next week. We getting 33 likes. We're up to 39. Appreciate everyone. Yeah, you meant Fathom. That's what I thought. Got to read it as is. Point out the little discrepancies, but Bryson, I can see Jets winning set. Yo, the Jets hopium is fucking crazy to me. Really? There's people still believing in the Jets. 7 wins, Bryson. That is crazy to me. 7? Did you see how bad Geno was last year on the Raiders? Like, damn. 7 or 8. But obviously not a winning record, right? You can't see them having a winning record. 9 is too much. 9 is the line that no one is willing to cross. But love the stream, says Drew. Appreciate that. Thank you. I appreciate you. But all right, we're gonna see if there's any other team I missed. We looked at Danimal, I believe, throughout the draft. He closed it out with Hunter, Helm, Sean Tucker, James Conner, and Njoku. Love the picks. Yeah, Danimal had a really, really good team. The running back room is questionable, obviously. Bucky, Chuba, Harvey don't feel like the best picks in Eliminator. But everything else is really good. So I think if he gets away with it, all he has to do is finish top 6 week 1. And then it's just a coin flip from there. So good luck to Animal. That was a pretty good team. Gohorns is also a member. Let me look at Gohorns at pick 5 real quick. And then beyond that, out of curiosity, I'm going to look at Dog Pound's team. Just because he's another YouTuber, I'm wondering what happened. We already looked at his team, though. He had, we saw the A.D. Mitchell pick. Raised an eyebrow. He closed it out. Pacheco at 177. That's legit. My cat's still roaming around. But Cade Otton, Malik Washington, and Cooper Kupp. I am not fond of those picks. I'm not going to lie. The Mike Washington, Cooper Kupp don't inspire me very much. I think there was a few floor picks at the end, which makes some sense in this, but I just think talent-wise, I don't like it. They never go over 10 points. So, love the team at the beginning. I think down the stretch, there's a few picks I personally disagree with on Dog Pound's team. But it starts off really strong. The running backs on that team are pretty fire. So that takes care of itself most of the time. Gohorns, we got Drake May, Baker Mayfield. That feels pretty sweet. CMC, Kyron, Swift, Rashad White, and Zach Charbonnet. Not afraid of Zach Charbonnet in this. Interesting. I would assume he deserves to fall like Pacheco fell in this one. 164 on Charbonnet in the eliminator feels a bit odd. But, if you make it late in the contest, he might be one of the pieces you need. But this is not the spot I want to take him. I'll take him in BBM, honestly, but I don't take him in eliminator. Receiver room, though, has A.J. Brown, J-Mo. BTJ at 77 is not bad. Mekhi Lemon at 92 is pretty sweet. Trey Tucker, not a bad click ever. Judy, Keenan, and Ted Hurst, pretty nice way to close it out. Good picks in the later rounds at receiver. Maybe some high variance with the rookie Mekhi Lemon. BTJ and J-Mo can always kind of shit the bed on a random Sunday. But A.J. Brown should be consistent this year. Hopefully, he gets his stuff together. But tight end has Kincaid and Hunter Henry and T. Ferg. Very good tight end room. The double week 11 bye, but you have 3 and Kincaid is not a problem for that. Like the tight end room a lot. When I was live earlier with Who Hames, Kincaid and Hunter Henry are 2 of my biggest smashes on the board. 2 of the best values at ADP, in my opinion. But good night, Austin. Thank you for joining us. Mackinac Island, great fudge. Gotcha. Everyone's on bike or some shit. We're all just living in our own world sometimes. But any new movie/TV role upcoming you can share? The last day I did background, I was on I was a jogger, and I literally was on screen for a fraction of 2 seconds. Literally, like, jogged across, like, the open gate between, like, hedges. It was, like, the easiest day of work imaginable. I was done before lunch. I did not get any free food. That was unfortunate. But that was the easiest day on set. I have no idea what they're actually going to call that show, but it looks like it would have Elizabeth Banks in it. That's all I can say. But an easy day on set, I'll tell you that. A lot of sitting around and then about 10 minutes of jogging from here to there. All right, you're done. Sweet. Later. That was an easy day. But yeah, the Dog Pounds team is very solid. So is yours, Danimal. Good teams all around. The Eliminator's hard to like fully judge. It's kind of like, do you have bad buys? And then what kind of matchups do you have early in the season? If you know the schedule very well, that I think is your main advantage in the Eliminator. The early season schedule is so important because it's down to less than 5% of teams by the time you hit like week 6. It dwindles fast, where by week 4, it's only 12.5% of teams still left in the contest. It's pretty slim, pretty fast. But Ryan says, I love me some Sharbs, and I was considering only going 4 RBs there, so taking Sharbs doesn't make a difference. If it's built for 4 RBs, it's always a legit Charbonnet team. You had CMC, Kyron, Swift, Rashad. You can totally get away with it. Definitely. But based on the price drop on Pacheco, I might have been more inclined to go Pacheco, honestly. But Sharbs has more of a fast track to RB1 once he's on the field. If you can get to the point where you're starting Charbonnet, that's pretty awesome. But in this one, I do fade him. I would have probably just taken Brenton Strange, honestly, at 164 instead of Charbonnet. That, I think, is a choice. Is it a bad choice? That's to be determined. I'm not going to go far and say that, but it is absolutely a choice to pass on Strange at 164 and go Sharbs. Hopefully, it is the right choice. Okay, we're going to hop into another draft. I think I want to do the Badge Bros. Honestly, I think I want to do that, but Ryan's a UCLA Sharp guy. He was awesome at UCLA. Like, his senior year at UCLA was fucking fire. Like, he is their future. He is their plan for the future. He's definitely the reason why they felt comfortable enough moving off of Walker for at least a year while he recovers. They like Charbonnet a lot, but Bryson has 0% Charbonnet across 400 teams. That's what's the worst that can happen. I think 3 to 4% is the way I want to play Charbonnet. A few teams where it makes some sense, I think he could actually be pretty interesting down the stretch. I'll be honest. I've clicked Charbonnet a few times myself, but I think we're going to do the Badge Bros. I like this contest a lot. I made the final in this contest last year, so maybe I have a soft spot for it. I've only drafted 2 teams so far, and it's so far about 40% full. So it's also $10, just like the Eliminator, and I don't want to get too Eliminator brained. This is a unique situation. Every team's going to be good, but at the very least, I don't have to do more than 5 other team reviews because it's only a 6-person draft. So I'm going to hop in if you want to be in this Badge Bros brawl with me. Drafting in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's go. Vamonos. Insta-fill. So hopefully you got in during the countdown. But I imagine there's plenty of overflows and pre-flows. Sweet. I get pick 2. I think that is a huge advantage to get a top 2 pick. There is a big difference between RB1, RB2, and whoever you think is RB3. It's just such a safer play. So getting a top 2 pick is definitely going to help you in the Badge Bros Brawl. You can go in any direction starting pick 3. I believe with Hartman on his channel yesterday, we ended up just taking Bowers at pick 3. You can really do whatever you want. But Ryan's graduated 2 years ago, so I was there for his performances. Nice. Got to see him in person. The man, the myth, the legend, Zach Charbonnet is pretty awesome. But another Eliminator or weekly winners. Not going to do weekly winners, Jesus. I promise you that. We entered the Badge Bros. And if you've never drafted in the BBB, I highly recommend. It's very fun. It's very entertaining. Your team's going to be loaded. I have a 30-second timer, so I get to think it out. I get to explain to you what I want to do. But every team's going to be loaded. This first round pick, though, is very obvious. I'm not going to go in a different direction. Then ADP. Samurai is possibly going to get stuck on auto. He almost times out. He goes Gibbs. I will take Bijan instantly. No issue with that ever. But when Sharps comes back, it's going to be a 1-2 combo like it was last year. It's definitely not a one-man backfield at any point this year. I think even when Jadarian Price is the lead guy, I think it's more of a committee as well. And I think it's more consolidated between 1 and 2 once Sharps is there. But I do think Sharps will inevitably get back to being the main guy. I think he's better than Jadarian Price is. I think they really trust him. It's just a matter of health on Zach Charbonnet. But yeah, he does have the chance to really just be the guy you need in theory. That Panthers matchup is not scary week 17. The weather could be maybe rainy as well. We've seen that happen in whatchamacallit, Carolina before. I think he could really play well. But Bowers goes at 10. I would have definitely taken him. I kind of wanted him, not going to lie. But I think I'm just going to go with one truly elite receiver. I do prefer Jefferson's playoff schedule, though. I think Jefferson's playoff schedule is actually a little bit more compelling than CeeDee Lamb's. And to be totally honest with you, I do worry about Dak Prescott staying healthy. Dak never stays healthy for 2 years in a row. It's been a long time since that's happened. It's been like 6 years since Dak has played like 2 back-to-back years. It's just not what I expect from him. So Lamb might just make it back, but I think in general, I'm definitely running back here. I usually just triple tap running back to start, but I'm going to mix it up just a little bit. I'm going to go with receiver first, just so I have one team with Jefferson, and I can kind of say I got it done. But I think in general, I'm usually going RB, RB, RB to start these drafts. But Hampton's still on the board. I'm definitely just taking Hampton. Very happy to get him. No complaints. CeeDee Lamb's still on the board, so Burgess going to be left with a decision. Does he take running back, or does he just take the falling value? He goes CeeDee Lamb. He does not give a shit. There's still going to be amazing rosters all throughout this one. It's kind of like you can't go wrong with any pick for a while. Like the way to play this early on, you can just stick with top of ADP and just try to get the best value. But like, I think that will be most people's strategy. And some people will kind of be like thinking there's a huge discount on someone when it's really like kind of negligible. But where you can get weird is as the rounds go by. I think once you hit double-digit rounds, you want to start to scroll. You want to get off of the ADP. And unless there's a really big faller on someone that you genuinely like, then I don't think you have to care who's at the top of the board the later you get. I think early on, everyone's such a smash pick. Like, just get different combos. Just get unique teams relative to who else you've drafted. And get your guys for sure. But beyond that, there's not that much like rhyme or reason to like why you need this person over that person. Unless you really like him, just go for it. I don't think there's too much to overthink. I'm going to take Josh Allen here. I do think Allen against the Dolphins week 17 is a really sweet matchup. And I do think he's one of the pieces that can help me just win the pod. It's so critical to win the pod. So in a smaller field contest, I do upgrade the quarterback a little bit. And I'm not sure what Samurai is going to do around the turn, but if he had 2 clicks on Allen, it definitely becomes more compelling. I'm just going to get ahead of him. I'm going to go Allen. And actually, the guy I wanted the most is still here. I like Rashee Rice a lot. I think Rashi's an excellent pick. I get the bring back with Omarion Hampton. I will take that happily. Give me Rashee Rice. 100%. But Mondo, son of Mondo, says, like the small draft size, but you have to be on point because all the opportunities. Yeah, I think you need to know your takes. I think you need to have conviction on which players you like the most and which ones you don't. I think if there's guys you really avoid properly, you will win. Knowing the landmines, it's really important. And then finding some way to get unique and really planning out for week 17, just assuming your roster does make the final, I think is the way to go about it. But the winner of this contest last year had a 3.492, and one of those running backs, the one that didn't hit the lineup, was James Conner, someone who got hurt and out for the season in week 2. I'm going to take Egbuka. I feel pretty confident in Egbuka. We're going to draft a lot of receivers on this team. And I don't feel like I'm going to hate the running backs that are still there at pick 38 compared to 35. We're still going to get someone I really like. And at this point, I'm really just going to be playing it for the matchups week 17. I think Javonte has a great matchup against the Giants. It was last season. But I also think that John Harbaugh will write the defense a little bit. They have talent on defense. There's a world where the defense is actually really, really tough to do anything against if they're just properly coached and execute well. But I think for the sake of the bring back, I'm going to invest further into this Bijan Robinson Atlanta Falcons game, and I will go Travis Etienne. I think Alvin Kamara is a very safe bet to be injured at the end of the season. That's been the case like the last 3-4 years. He misses at least like 3+ games in December. And I do think Travis could have the backfield just all to himself when it matters most. I do think I want that Falcons matchup in the dome. Remove weather from the equation. I've already bet on the game with Bijan. Let's get the running back opposite him in Travis. And it's get your guy season. In the Badge Bros Brawl, just get your guys. Travis ultimately is one of my guys. I don't really believe that Kamara will keep him off the field very much. I think Kamara's kind of washed. Kamara was brutal last year, and he always gets hurt at this stage of his career. So I'll go Travis. I think I can advance with any of these running backs on my team. But for the sake of week 17 and the bring back, let's go with that Falcons Saints game. Might be for the division. It's going to be a fun one. I see more of a shootout in that dome game than a low-scoring game. I like that one a lot. But Drew's in the overflow. Good luck to you. But gotcha. Gotcha, Bryson. It was insta-full. It's pretty easy to fill just six rooms in a particular lobby. But Montgomery would be a decent pick here. Garrett Olson's still on the board. The bring back with Jefferson could be decent. Yeah, I'll go Garrett Wilson. I do like him a little bit more lately. I'll take him. Not afraid. A 7-pick slide. It's not that big of a deal in the Badge Bros Brawl, but it is something. It's a little bit of something. 7 picks. It's not nothing. It's a full round in this type of format, but it could be more. It could definitely be more. If I told you you were in a 12-team league, though, and Garrett Wilson was on the board at 47 overall, you'd probably take him, right? You'd probably take him. But here we are at 50, and I'm just shooting for upside at this point. I'm going to go Travion, the true Badge Bros Brawl pick. Nothing but upside and ceiling. 30 points, come on down. Travion Henderson, one of my guys, hard to pass. Very hard to pass. I'll tell you that. But Ryan says, yeah, I just think Holani/Wilson will lose role almost entirely. That's a pretty safe bet. Give it to week 3, and yeah, one of them will be completely just a ghost, and then the other one will be way less involved than the typical backup. But maybe until Charbonnet goes down, they do have some type of role. It's just not going to be worth anything, if you ask me. But Batwheat, hello. 6-man draft is crazy. Hello, Batwheat. Hello. Hello. Montgomery's still on the board, but I got him at 70 in a previous draft. I'm not going to push it. I'm Gonna stick to the plan. Gonna go Laporta. In terms of true weekly upside, Laporta is one of those guys that can really, really pop off. I like Kittle in this as well, but I'm gonna ignore running back because I already have 4 of them. I don't want more than 5, and I really don't think you need to force it. Get the value in like the next 3 rounds, if there is one. If somebody still is on the board, then take him there. But at 60, 59, 62, I don't think it's that big of a deal. When I already have 4, I like a lot. But we're going to draft at least 8 receivers on this team. We're going to have a lot of studs, so get back in at that position before it's out. However, it's still get your guy season. And Samurai is on the clock. He goes Caleb Williams, but I wanted Justin Herbert here. Herbert needs to be on some of my teams. The Josh Allen, Justin Herbert combo, I would take so much more often if they didn't have the same bye, because I just want to stop with those 2. Legitimately, I just want to stop with those 2. But the 2 best MVP candidates probably this season, Allen always in that discussion. Herbert, I think, will win it this year with Mike McDaniel. I already have the bring back with Rashee Rice. I have Hampton, who is an excellent stack, mind you, with Justin Herbert. And he's one of my favorite picks, if not the best pick on the board, if you ask me. I am so committed to Herbert. He is truly the player I think can win it all for you. But Mondo, I like the prospect of these drafts for overall selection available. Yeah, you can do whatever you want. It's a really fun contest. I would recommend doing at least a few of these. At least a few. But if you want to be a Holani, bro, go for it. It's not my cup of tea. I've only taken him like 1% of the time. But will DJ Moore take over at Buffalo for wide receiver 1? He will, but I think Dalton Kincaid will still be more valuable than him. If you can only have 1 stack with Allen, make it Kincaid. What's up, German Guzman? How you doing? Thank you for joining us on this evening. Are you watching from Germany, or is that just a coincidence? I imagine it's a reasonable time to be watching at Germany right now. Early in the morning, if I had to guess, you're actually in Germany. But interesting point of the draft. Not my favorite way to go, but Kittle is insane in this contest. Love the upside on Kittle. I will just take Kittle. I'm not afraid to just go Kittle. This is where I want him. In the Badge Bros, where I already have a studded tight end 1, or I can get insane values on whoever I want later. There's nothing I need to force later on. You got to kind of reevaluate ADP for smaller draft size. Absolutely. The ADP is pretty meaningless once you hit like round 7, round 8 especially. The last 10 or so rounds of this draft don't give a shit about ADP. The discounts mean less, and then the reaches also mean less. But I'm going to get the stack. That is where I'm willing to reach. And like we said, not give a shit about ADP. But, you know, this looks early. I just want to take him. I have Herbert. I want this stack. I will take QJ round 13. I only have 5 clicks left. So give me someone that correlates on my roster. I love the Chargers-Chiefs bring back matchup in week 17. Should be really, really fun, really high scoring. And I want a piece of that matchup all day long. So Herbert with QJ 2 rounds later. That feels nice. Very nice. But yeah, so far, you can't go wrong. I will say, though, every team feels amazing in this. Every single team you draft feels like it's the one that's going to win it all. But with that in mind, there's 375 people in the final. I got to play with week 17 in mind. It's mostly a week 17 slate, what should have like some of your, tiebreakers. I think that's a big factor with the slate there. But I do think I want Kincaid on this team. I think that makes the most sense. I think I would like that. So I'm going to do it. Give me Dalton Kincaid stacked up with Josh Allen. 3 tight ends, not totally necessary, but I think that's what this team is going to be. I think the 3-4-8-3 is the way I want to play it. I'm honestly not really interested in another running back the rest of this draft. I think I can get away with Bijan, Hampton, Travis, and Travion. I think that's going to be fine. But Bijan and Travion both have the same bye in week 11, so that's where the only factor comes in. But last year's champ had James Conner. That's also relevant. But receivers, we're coming down to it. Get your guys season. I'm just going to pull up Ricky Pearsall and just get back in on the position. I know I need 8 receivers. I want 3 more. I could probably get away with 7, though. Ricky Pearsall is one of those guys that I really want. If Pearsall delivers, he's really, really going to crush. I'm already invested in San Francisco with Kittle. So maybe Brock Purdy will be our last pick, but he actually went 87. I thought maybe he could make it back to me. But that's probably the Mike Evans team, if I had to guess. No, I don't think it is, but he just wants Brock Purdy. That's fair. Purdy's pretty legit. Maybe I should have gone Purdy first and then Ricky Pearsall. That may have been the better play. But I'm not going to worry about getting sniped in the Badge Rose Brawl. Definitely not worried about that. There's so many good picks as well. Nothing to see there. No reason to get upset. At this point, I'm just kind of chasing true upside. I do like the Kyler click a little bit. I would have taken Jackson Dart if he was there. Dart is one of my favorite picks in this. Goddard does go. I remember day 1 I drafted Goddard, who was going undrafted. He was unranked. I'm going to need a quarterback. I think I'm just going to go with Kyler. The week after the bye, he should be pretty decent. I have him stacked with Jefferson, so you would think self-scouting during the bye week, come back fully rested. We'll go Kyler Murray. He does get the Jets week 17, so that should be a pretty good matchup for him. And I do think he has the chance to just be one of the best picks on the board in terms of returning value. I have him stacked up with Jefferson, so I'll happily do that. But we have 2 clicks left. I think they're both receiver, but I think I can talk myself into maybe one more running back. We're getting to the point where scrolling down is kind of just the play. But with Kyler, I think I'm just going to go Jordan Addison, get the other piece of that offense. And Addison is like a really perfect like spike week type of guy. He had 10 touchdowns his rookie season. He's been a really good touchdown guy in the past. And if you look at his 3 weeks with Carson Wentz last year, he was actually really good. He had like almost 12 points per game. He was way more productive than Jefferson in those weeks as well. It was really just J.J. McCarthy. So I don't think the talent has gone anywhere. Addison is still a really good pick. And I don't fear Juwan Jennings whatsoever. So I'll go Addison. This last pick, though, needs to be a scroll down. I'm kind of tempted to go running back, though. I think with Travion and that Week 11 bye, I'm tempted to go running back. We could just go Tony Pollard, but if anything, he gets drafted in all of these. I think I want to go with like a true elite handcuff. I'm going to go Kyle Manungai. Maybe not the most unique type of click, but at least in this one, he wasn't even on anyone's radar. And like, if you told me that Swift goes down, holy shit, Kyle Monangai is going to crush. So getting a little bit different, getting a handcuff that I also think has standalone value, can just deliver when I need him to. Monangai is a very valid pick, and in this it feels even better. So, yeah, round 18 Kyle Monangai, that's definitely the way I want to be doing it for sure. So even just straight up pick 107, that's pretty nice. I think some people get a bit locked into ADP, so getting some of the guys that are a little bit lower and technically undrafted are good ways to go at running back. So even though we didn't go with 8 receivers, every receiver build is going to be so fucking good. It's like, so what? I can totally get away with these 7. But the 3-5-7-3 is one of my favorites. And in this, every position is loaded. I have Allen, Herbert, and Kyler Murray. Who does Kyler play week 7? Let me find out if I regret this choice. Kyler in week 7. I'm locked into this, so now I'm curious. He will be off the bye at home hosting the Indianapolis Colts. Honestly, I'm here for it. I think that could be a good matchup for him. I don't think that'll be too low scoring. Taylor can definitely keep that matchup interesting and high scoring. So even if Daniel Jones is limited by the Flores defense, I still think Kyler will have to push it downfield against the Indianapolis Colts. I don't mind that at all, to be honest with you. It's in the dome. That's what matters most. Kyler in bad weather would have been bad, but it's early October. No, it's mid-October, October 25th. Late October, I guess. I think hosting the Colts, we will be fine with that. But maybe Jefferson, locked up by Sauce Gardner, could get stuffed. However, we do have the backup with Jordan Addison in that spot. But Allen and Herbert going to cover me for sure. That feels amazing. Bijan, Hampton, Travis for the bring back. Travion Henderson, that spike week ability. And then Kyle Monangai just to get a little bit cute, a little bit different. Someone that's great and we all like from a contingent value and standalone value, but maybe a little bit unique given he's less drafted in this one. But Jefferson, Rashee Rice, Egbuka, Garrett Wilson, Quentin Johnston, Ricky Pearsall, and Jordan Addison. No issue with that other than maybe I could have scrolled down with at least one of these picks. Like, all these guys are ultimately drafted, but it's still pretty fire. I have no issue with it. Laporta, Kittle, and Kincaid. Like I said, everyone's team's going to be loaded. You're going to feel amazing about it. Yeah, Danimal. They do. They all feel amazing. It's kind of just like, did you build it out for week 17? Because at this point, you can all legitimately talk yourself into, my team is making it to the final. Like, everyone's team is going to be good. And the advance rate's pretty sweet. The advance rate is so achievable. 1 of 6, 1 of 5, 1 of 5. It's all about week 17, in my opinion. 375 people. Let's get one of the rosters that can do some damage. Last year, I min cashed in the final, and with 100K up top to only get like $250, that fucking sucked. I'm not gonna lie. I was pretty disappointed with my final outcome in this contest last year. To make it there and not finish even like in the top half, let alone like the bottom 25%, I was pretty disappointed, honestly. But my bet on the Lions, I had Goff double stepped with Gibbs and JMO. They all 3 shit the bed. None of them hit my lineup, and I had like only like a 9-point threshold to clear the lineup. It was pretty crazy. They were terrible last season in week 17. So I hope that doesn't happen to you. Hopefully you have the right combination. I like some of the pieces a lot in terms of who I have if I do make it. But let's take a look at y'all's teams. Burgess went Burrow, Purdy, Bo Nix. He has Jamar Chase. He has no other Bengal, but that's fine. Purdy is stacked up with no one. The unstacked Purdy, not my favorite thing to do, but a good player nonetheless. Bo Nix is also unstacked. I think you needed a stack, brother. I think you needed a stack. You only have Burrow and Jamar Chase, so I think I would have liked more than just one player stacked. But of all the players to have, that's not a bad combo, Burrow and Jamar Chase. But Kyron, Scotabo, Rico, and Blake Corum, that's totally fine. Both Rams, though, like I said with the week 11, it's probably chill. Every week you have the Rams starting running back, so that's probably fine. But maybe a fifth could help you. Because in this contest, like the nuances between teams 1 and 2 might be very close. You have to be top of the board, top of the pod. I might want a third running back for week 11 bye. It comes down to something like that sometimes. But you have 9 receivers with Jamar Chase, CeeDee Lamb, Drake London, Devontae, Ladd, Watson, Odunze, Tyson, and Harrison. So that's what the winner had last year, the 3-4-9-2. But you could get away with maybe one more running back pick. It's great, though. Bowers and Kraft, your boys, so awesome. Yeah, I wasn't getting Bowers in a lobby with you. No doubt about it. I had to take him pick 2 if I wanted him. Good team. Like everyone, good team. Maybe a fifth running back could have helped, but I don't mind the Rams handcuff strategy whatsoever. Not at all. But you had so many early receiver picks. Maybe an extra running back could help just a little bit. Danimal has Hurts, Dak, and Baker. He has Goddard with Jalen Hurts. Like that a lot. He has Javonte Williams and no one else with Dak. But you do have Godwin with Baker. At least there's that. The stacks are important, along with the bringbacks. But James Cook, Chase Brown, Ken Walker, Javonte Williams, and David Montgomery, phenomenal. 64 on Dave Montgomery. He usually falls. I got him at 70 in one draft, so it's nice. It's pretty common to get him at a discount. But Puka, T. Higgins, Waddle, Tet at 52, not bad. DJ Moore, DK Metcalf, and Chris Godwin. So similar to me, the receiver room looks amazing. Maybe getting a little bit different with a scroll down would have helped you a little bit just to get different and unique. But Colston Loveland, Harold Fannin, and Dallas Goedert. Not many bringbacks, I will say that. But minimal stacking as well. That is the only criticism you can kind of think of. But it's not like there isn't a single bringback, just not many of them. In general, it's like Puka against Godwin. It's not much more than that, actually. So good luck in week 17, brother. I imagine you advance. And then otherwise, I don't recognize anybody else in this lobby. Samurai, don't know about you, Rob, or Dab K, Clanning. I think that's going to be it. I'm going to catch up with the chat, and then I'll say goodbye. But let's go back to the single frame. I'm going to pack the bowl one last time. But let me try and catch up because I have neglected the chat for a little bit. But Bryson, his truth serum take, JJ/CD, worst picks on the board in round 1 in the midst of running back smashes/bust. Just get the running backs right. Very fair. I think that is a reasonable take. I don't think you're insane to say that. But nope, I think we're done tonight, Bryson. Not this evening. Maybe next time. But yeah, everyone's going to like their team in the Badge Bros Brawl. Nobody will be upset. So building it for week 17, I think, is the thing you can overlook. It is very relevant in this contest. But appreciate everyone for hitting that like. What are we sitting at right now? We got 52 likes. We did crack 50. Appreciate that, everyone. Thank you very much. Means a lot. But we did it. K-Space, thank you very much for the requests. They did not let you down. But I'm not sure who you're referring to, Austin. But yeah, everyone's team is good. It's the Badge Bros Brawl. It's the Badge Bros all day. You can get whoever you want if you want them enough. But Mondo's If you can get past round 1, round 2, and up randomly grouped is a toss-up. You can get lucky in low ceiling room or loaded. Yeah, the pod you're in dictates a lot. Like making the final, I don't think is actually that impressive in the Badge Bros Ball. It's nice, but finishing and placing well in the BBB is where it's at. There's 100K up top, so to get less than 1,000 in that contest is nothing to brag about, if you ask me. But at least I can say I turned $10 into $250. That's not bad. $250 off of $10 could be worse, but yeah, we did break 50. X3 says, final weeks of drafting, do you recommend just drafting ADP or getting your guys and making your portfolio stands bigger? I recommend getting your guys. What was the point of all the practice the first several months, if not to know the picks that you like and the picks that you don't? You've felt the intuition, whether you are really happy about a pick or you really feel gross about a certain pick. Remember how you felt in the past and just stick with that intuition. Don't double down on picks you don't like. None of us ultimately know exactly what will happen. There is luck involved and just like chance of injury and stuff and matchups and stuff. So if you really trust your gut, if you've done the due diligence, if you've done the research, and a lot of, other voices in the space that you respect are saying they agree with these stances, then I think you should double down and commit to your guys now that we're essentially in August. But you're welcome, Danimal, no worries. But I'm sorry, K-Space. It's almost midnight. We were live for over 3+ hours with Huhames. If you want to catch some content you may have missed, I highly recommend going over to Hartman's channel. We were live with him yesterday, so very relevant, still relevant on the replay value. And if you're interested, if you haven't checked it out, you can watch my dominant performance on the Fanspeak Network's Best Ball Jeopardy. I don't believe my matchup tomorrow will take place. It looks like it's getting postponed, and that's totally fine. I was looking forward to it, but I don't think I'm playing Jeopardy tomorrow. It looks like a rain delay has occurred. So check out the replay, Best Ball Jeopardy. I highly recommend if you've never watched it. Fanspeak Network, I went up against Huhames, and that was a very fun time. Catch the replay if you've never seen it. But I think that's going to be it for me. Like I said, time to pack the bowl. I didn't do that. And say goodbye. But I've caught up with the chat at least. I've done all my requirements for the evening. But appreciate everyone for joining us this evening. If you got anything to smoke it, go ahead and join me. I'll see you on the other side. But cheers, everyone. Good night. Later.